everybody. This is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have a great honor and pleasure of chatting with the bassist for New Year's Day, Frankie Sil.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
Starting from the beginning, Frankie, before we talk about all the exciting stuff you guys have been up to, let's go back in time. How did you get started in music and on bass?
Well, I got started on bass when I was probably about 10 years old, maybe 11 years old. And I was playing guitar. I remember playing I was 11 years old playing with cover bands, and I used to be the guy with the guitar. It was so big. It was here. I'm playing Last Dance with Mary Jane and stuff and on a guitar. And then, but with bass, it was they were always together. I was always playing guitar and doing bass at the same time. So I remember my first bass was a Harmony. I got out of a pawn shop. My dad bought it for me out of a pawn shop. He got it for $99. I think that was the going rate for every single bass or guitar that you get from a pawn shop when you're starting out. But I remember the action being it was like playing a harp. I was yeah, it's the worst ever. But and just starting out, it got my fingers very strong, to where when I played a normal, a jazz precision or a Music Man or whatever, I would pick up at a Guitar Center. At that time, it was New York Music out in Youngstown, Ohio. And it got my fingers very strong. So when I started actually playing bass, it came very easy. Just got all the skills very quick. Yeah, so I started playing bass probably around the same age, about 10 years old. I remember my first guitar, I was a Muppet Babies guitar, and my dad stepped on it when I was 7. And broke my heart. So my grandmother bought me a Harmony acoustic, an Elvis Presley looking Harmony acoustic, and I started on that, and then I got the bass as well from the pawn shop. And I started learning at that time, it was I guess it was Rage Against the Machine and Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana and that Seattle alternative sound. Alice in Chains was a huge influence on me growing up. Michael Starr, the bass player for Alice in Chains, huge influence. And then as that, I started working out in my dad's garage and listening to Johnny Cash and Motley Crue and ZZ Top and Led Zeppelin and Cream and getting involved with The Who, John Entwistle and Geezer Butler, some of the best profound bass players I think of that time, just because they were just so light, they were lightning fast. So it definitely put me in that bass direction, start learning how to play like that too.
Gotcha.
It's very cool.
Now, are you self-taught or did you take classes?
I took 5 lessons from his name is Cornelius Shaky Poon Cornelius. I'm I don't know on the social medias, but yeah, I took 2 weeks, maybe a month of lessons, and I used to go in, and he used to be all right, go ahead and learn these songs. You gotta start learning music, and he would be okay, did you learn this? And I was no, He's what song is this? It's Mary Had a Little Lamb, but I was just too busy playing what I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I was I want to play this. I want to play like this and learn like this. So yeah, I'm very self-taught. I really depend on my ears for everything. But it's one of those things too. It's I'm never not against learning. I think knowledge is power, and I'm always picking up stuff. I'm constantly training myself, and I have no shame in taking even more lessons now from other people. There's a lot of people on Instagram right now, Scott's Bass Lessons. What's up, Scott? He's amazing. I look at his stuff a lot. He's just phenomenal. So yeah, I'm self-taught though, yeah.
For a lot of people, the journey can go in many different ways, and there's no absolute right way.
No, there isn't.
There's certainly folks that will go a formal path and go to schools. There's others that it's kind of on the job training. There's a lot of people that wanted to do stuff and didn't get that out of what they were getting from school, and they're okay, well, so I'm gonna I'm gonna join a band, which takes us to New Year's Day. How did that come up?
I've played with Wayne Static till he passed away in 2014 with Static X. That was a turning point in my life. I kind of looked at what I've done since then and was I didn't even know if I wanted to play after he passed away. He was a really good friend of mine. I was just I don't want to even try to climb the ladder again. That's a huge band, and it was one of those things. It's man, just because I feel the music business is nowadays, it's not what you've done, it's what you're doing right now. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I kind of just went to work at a crappy ass job and just kind of I was always playing, but I was just I wasn't really searching. I knew New Year's Day for a long time because when I was in Static X, I toured with them in 2012 when I was in a different band. Me and Nikki I used to do this thing where I shoved safety pins through my mouth and just to attract attention over by the merch booth to make more money for us. Nicky saw me doing that. He's like, I want to hang out with that guy. Just because we were just like those two punks, we just, doing crazy things. And then me and Nicky and Ash became really good friends on that tour, and we stayed in touch. And then I started looking at them once they released Malevolence in 2014/15. And I was like, wow, that's a great direction for these guys to go in. They kind of stopped the pop punk and went kind of that metal sound. And I was like, this is very cool. I think everything off Malevolence, not everything, but there's some really good songs. I just think they were like badly mixed. But there's some great tunes on that record. And I was like, well, why did you push this song? Why don't you push this song? Anyway, they gave me a call like a year later after 2014, so about 2015, 2016. I got a call from their old drummer, old drummer's girlfriend was like, yeah, I think they're looking for a bass player. And I went out and auditioned, and they're like, yeah, absolutely. So it was pretty transitionless, I guess, because we already knew each other. And I kind of like set up things too. I was like, I didn't want to just join a band. I don't want to like, at that point I was very like, I don't want to make new friends. I don't want to be on a bus with people I don't know, So I kind of like made stipulations. I wrote a list. I was like, I will never join a band that's not a family member, or like something like that. Like, I will never join a band for this and that. And like, so all the stipulations matched with New Year's Day. So I was like, yeah, let's do this. So so everything worked out great.
Listening to you guys' music, you've been very busy this year. Had a couple of videos that I saw, Come For Me and Shut Up. And interestingly enough, they're very different. And a lot of times when I try to, I'll say, pigeonhole a band's music, you guys are very heavy metal, but with, I don't know if it'd be fair to call it kind of a goth, dark tone to it, especially. Yeah,
for sure.
Especially Come For Me, that I'm kind of going, okay, I'm seeing Vampire Fangs on Ashley, and I'm kind of going, okay, yeah, this is going down a whole path here.
Well, we always have that. We're the goth kids, dark kids in high school, man. It's like we just haven't outgrown that, and I don't think we're ever going to. We just like dressing in black. It's just what we do, and like I think that's a part of our personalities for that kind of music. I don't know anymore if like what trends are, like the goth trend. The goth started off in London punk, It's like it's a completely different thing to what Americanized it here. It's like I don't know what that really even means anymore. People that don't know, it's like that's goth. It's like, oh, look, if we're like have pumpkins and Halloween themed, we're goth. But we're just dressing in black, rocking out, doing like the show, and I think the music has that very punk element to it. I think we still have that punk element, even with our attitudes. It's like we're just gonna go out there and just play, and like I don't give a fuck. You don't like it, kick some. We're there to kick teeth down your throat, So it comes out that way on stage too, which I like. I like the angst. I like that we're still old enough to have all that. We're old, but we still carry that angst. We're not that old, but you know what I mean.
I do.
Yeah, like a lot of people lose that. A lot of people lose that elegance of that element of risk. So I'm glad we haven't lost that.
Gotcha.
We're always able to like think outside the box and keep moving forward with that way of thinking. So
one of the reasons when I mentioned kind of a type of music, because I think the lines are very blurred. Maybe back in the day when things first were starting coming out, somebody would look at a band and go, oh, they're a punk band, or oh, they're prog rock, or oh, they're this. And now there's kind of some crisscross over, especially between the two videos. Yeah. Like Shut Up starts kind of so softly, and then it injects more of that metal feel to it. And so again, it's an evolution, if you will. And that's why I try not to pigeonhole too hard, but to get an idea where you're coming from.
A lot of things too is like, I remember, and I don't mean I'm not going to name any bands, but I remember when, like a lot of bands in the 90s, when you listen to their records, they have just like an array of songs. It's like they have this song, they have this song. Look, okay, look at Led Zeppelin, for example. Yeah. Every single one of their songs is like, they could be on any single one of the records. That's what it's like, yeah, we went this direction with this song, but it doesn't mean it's not New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it doesn't belong in that album. Once every album and every song starts sounding the same, it's like, I'll break down, it's like, okay. Oh, and the next song, here's song number 2. Yeah. It's like, okay, so there's no art. I feel it's just recreating the same thing over and over and over again and over again and over again and over again. Even with like the genres today, it's like post metal, deathcore, part. It's like, come on, man. I saw this one band online. I just posted something about who's your favorite local band. And I went through actually all the local bands and I listened to them. I was like, okay, some of these bands are really cool. They got some good vibes. Mm-hmm. And the one band is just like, they're like, we play metal. That's it. It's one metal. We play metal. Categories as metal. We don't do all this. I was like, absolutely. I like these guys. Just for like what they said. I was like, that's exactly what it should be. When you start dividing subgenres into subgenres and subgenres, I think it divides the metal community as well.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I think it divides like, well, I listen to post-hardcore. Well, I listen to death grindcore. Well, I listen to death grind post-metalcore. It's like, can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
And it's all metal, man. It's like it's a big family, and you know I'm happy and blessed to be a part of it. But just stop subdividing everything. I like when we can walk in like the early 2000s, just walk into Best Buy and you see metal, rap, country, blues, and it's like, yeah. That's what you play. The only fine line there is hard rock and metal. That's the only fine line there is. I don't think any genres should be subdivided. You know.
Well, crazy. And as we're talking about sounds, we should talk about your sound.
Okay.
How are you getting your sound? What gear are you playing on?
I play an array of Music Mans, Ernie Balls. I like the Stingrays for certain things. I like the Sterlings for certain things. I have both. I think they're just the bee's knees. I don't know. You can take a Music Man bass and you can make it sound like anything. Just through tone controls on the bass, the volume, mid, bass, and treble. You can make that sound like anything. You can make a Music Man sound like a Fender Precision. You can make it sound like a BC Rich. You can make it sound like a Rickenbacker. So I like to have just that instead of owning all of them. I mean, one day I would love to own all of them, but for right now, I think Music Man is where it's at for me. As far as strings, I use beefy slinkies. I don't know if they're new or they've been around for a while, but this is the first time I've seen them. They're like a lower gauge string for 4 strings. I'm not opposed to playing 5 strings, but I don't really like them. I think the neck's just a little bit too thick for me, and I like that punk rock feel, just a 4 string bass. Pickups, I just use the factory pickup that they put in. I've been looking into some EMGs and stuff for bass, but I'm not that savvy yet on pickups, so it's something really new to me. And there's so many pickups that it's like, okay, now I have to dig down and go through every single one and see what I like and see what they can do, and also just talk to other people and see what they think as well. Just formulate a plan with that. As far as strings, like I said, the beefy slinkies, I use low tuning. Some of the songs are in G sharp to A sharp. So I use 130s to 130, 100, 80, 65, I believe it is for my lows. But I also have a drop pedal through Digitech.
Okay.
So my bass is tuned in A, and if I need to drop any lower, I just use the pedal, because it's like, in order to do that low of tuning, I would have to do a 5 string, and I just don't want to.
Gotcha.
I don't like that. I have to hike it up, and play like a little tighter that way. 5 string down low, it's just like it's hard. It's hard on the hand. As far as other pedals too, Dark Glass B7K Ultra, love that pedal. Seems like the pedal to use right now in the bass community, as far as like the Alpha Omega and the AX7, I believe it is. I think it is A7X. I'm not really too familiar with that one, but a lot of people are using it as well. But I do use a B7K Ultra, and I have everything just juiced to the highest with the attack and the grit. I just love that pedal. It's like, I also use the Sands amp as well.
Okay.
So I kind of balance them both out in front of house. Even though the Dark Glass does that anyway, it has the half and half to be able to put the compression and the sizzle together and not cut out all the bass. It already has that feature in it. I just like for the sound guy to be comfortable and be able to balance it out up front. So I use the Sands amp as well, and I think it sounds amazing. There's so much. It's right there. It's right in the pocket. So it's not too many mids to cut the guitars out to where it's like, oh, you just have like a low guitar up there. It's not like that at all. It just sits. It's just meant to round out the sound. So that's what bass is for, I believe. So it's nice.
Are you using any amplifiers on stage?
No, I'm direct. I just go direct through Sanset, direct through the dark glass, and they produce that sound up front. I do run a cab in practice, so I can do my tones the way I want them. So I use each tone, see how it comes through, and see how they cut through, and blend them through the cab to see how it's going to sound up front.
Sure.
And usually it sounds way better out front because this like the front of houses, they know what they're doing. So pedals, I go that route, and Sennheiser, as far as wireless units, everything, guitar wireless and in-ears as well, I use. Cable-wise,
again, if you're using wireless, you're not using cables to get to your pedal board or anything like that?
No, everything's wireless. I guess I have patch cables. They're basic Monster.
Okay.
I just use Monster because if one breaks, you get one back for free. So yeah. But that's pretty much my rig.
Looking ahead, I know you guys have big plans for 2020. I think there's a box set to be released.
Yeah, that all of the albums together, and a bunch of pictures in there with everything as well. And I don't know if they're doing all the albums in different color. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen like the mock-ups, but I'm sure it's going to be great. But yeah, all the different albums, every album that we've done, all in one box set for you to purchase. It's going to be amazing. Yeah.
Got you. And as if that wasn't enough, you've got a very aggressive tour schedule at the beginning of the year, at least starting in Europe.
Yeah, we're starting in Europe. I think we fly out February 15th or 16th. And I'm not sure where it starts, though.
I think I saw some UK and other places.
Australia. Yeah. Absolutely. We got some UK and Australia in March. I haven't really paid that much attention to it because it is the holidays, and everybody's just kind of like decompressing right now.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm in Virginia right now, just with my girl, hanging out, and then I go. We're gonna try to see the families and stuff here for the holidays as well.
Very cool. Yeah. In addition to that, I know with the touring, and probably the best place, since neither you nor I are going to memorize it, the best place to look is nydrock.com, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, everything's on there from Facebook, social medias, everything. Spotify, iTunes, and you'll find anything you want with tour dates and the new stuff that's coming out, like the box set and everything. So
very nice. And as busy as you are with New Year's Day, do you have any other stuff that you're working on your own, or is this pretty much getting all your attention?
No. I'm actually going to be starting to work on some stuff that I always want to do. I'm not going to say what it is, but I'm just going to use a lot of the technology that's out today. I want to see what Kemper can do in Axe Effects and start just making up certain tones that are familiar but yet different. I just want to start using the technology. They give us Kemper and Axe Effects. They give us these things, these amazing instruments. And I don't think anybody's played with them enough. It's okay, I want Slash's tone, so they download it and plug it in. I want this guy's tone, and then it's like, okay, let's see what this thing can really do. Let's start making things up and just see what it sounds like, and just creating something off that. And it's it's like, I think I've heard like everything. I want to hear something just different in rock, different in metal, like some kind of really. I don't know what it's going to sound like, but I'm just going to dial in. I'm going to dive in and just see what certain things can do. So I don't know if it's going to be heavy. I don't know if it's going to be indie rock, but I definitely want to do I just want to dive in and see what I can do, and see and create some new tones and put them on an album and run out the flagpole and see who salutes it. Just like Lemmy said. So
there you go. Well, and when you're doing that, because you've teased us with this concept. Where will people be able to find out more about this? Where should they look to see when this is happening?
Just go on my social medias, Frankie Sil 11, on all my social medias. That's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll start posting some stuff up there. Absolutely.
Very cool. Well, Frankie, thank you for taking time out of your holiday celebrations to share a moment with us. Folks, you've seen him here, Frankie Sil, on Bass Musician Magazine.
All right, guys. Thank you so much.